I do not know by what strength I have come to attain shelter of you within your dham. I like to sing this song whenever I go on parikrama to get in the right mood. Truly, you are most benevolent, devoted to sanctifying and delivering the fallen. I rest all my hopes simply in the fact, O Lord, that you are saturated with compassion. There is no beneficiary more in want of your compassion than I. You will indeed subjugate all my fears. There is no one in the world with the power to deliver me. O merciful Lord, by your decree, please save this lowly and sinful soul. Leaving everything behind, O protector, I have settled at your feet. I am your eternal servant and you are my sustainer and custodian. O Jagannath, protector of the universe. Everything is yours and I am simply your servant. You shall deliver me. I have accepted your feet as my only shelter. I do not even belong to myself. Weeping, Bhakti Vinod has taken refuge at your feet. Please forgive my offenses and give me a taste for the holy name. Maintain me in this way.
Vibho, thank you, Ramananda Prabhu. I think you've earned your toast. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that people can't unmute themselves. Okay. Jnana Timiranda Enanjana Shalakaya Chakshuan Militam Jena Tasmae Shri Gurave Namaha. So before I begin, I want to offer my Dandavat pranams unto my Gurudev, Shri Srila Bhaktivedanta Bon Goswami Maharaj, to Param Gurudev, Shri Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to Arta Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Guru Varg, to all Vaishnavas and everyone listening on Zoom, on YouTube, on Facebook, and to our recording. I want to offer Dhanavat pranams, and especially to Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj and to Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, who are speaking today. So today is the second day of journeying on our parikram. It's our third day of Zoom programs, but it's the second day we are going out into Vrindavan together. And to begin, Pujapad Janandi Maharaj will be taking us to Madhuvana. Then we'll be going with Nami Maharaj to Dhruvatila. And then we'll be finishing again with Chidandi Maharaj at Talavan, Kumudvana, and Bahulvan. So I hope everyone has sorted out their bus tickets so that they can come with us. And the speciality of Zoom is that you can go, is that it takes a lot less time on the bus than it does when you're actually in Vrindavan to get to the place, which is why Maharaj will immediately after I've finished begin speaking on Madhuvana. Okay, Maharaj, when you're ready.
Thank you, Tarunji. Thank you, Tarunji. Thank you, Yashoda, for organizing everything. Thank you. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadaraye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta on Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nityalila Pravishta on Astotara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our Rupanuga Guru Vargya, my prostrated Dandavat pranams. So, as Tarunji has just said, we are on the third day of our Zoom parikrama, but on the second day of our actual traveling around in Braj parikrama. So today we're starting early in the morning from Gopinath Bhavan, and we're assembling just in front of Gopinath Bhavan. And if everyone's checked their seat tickets, which is always a drama to run to the notice board and see which bus, etc., we're on. And then we find our buses and we sail off through the back streets of Vrindavan. And then we're going to come onto the main Agra Delhi highway in our buses, and we're going to head southwest. So if Manjalali, Didi, would like to just put the map on the front here. Okay. So just if you open it out, you pinch it out, you can see from Vrindavan. Put the cursor on Vrindavan, yes, on the banks of the Jamuna there. So now we're going to come out onto this main road here. This is the Agra Delhi highway. And then we're going to travel down towards south, towards Mathura. And actually today, in different years at different times, we do different programs. But today we'll probably stop in Mathura, and one Brijabasi, Mathuravasi, he invites us for breakfast. And the whole party takes a large Brijabasi breakfast. This will be about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So, and then from there, when everyone has finished their breakfast, then we head out southwest to Madhuvana. You can put the cursor now on Madhuvana. Yes, that's it. You see Madhuvana. And then I'll just give you the route of where we're going to go today so you can see. So this is Madhuvana, and then below it is Talavan, and then just above it is Kumudvana, and then Bahulavan isn't actually, there's Bahulavan, yes, right. So we're going to go in like a circular fashion, and we're going to come back to this road. In recent years, we haven't gone to Bahulavan because they've constructed a flyover on the road going out to Govardhan there. So it's difficult to actually get around. So the devotees haven't visited Bahulavan on the Parikrama for some years now. So if you can just get that picture of the geography, it's immensely helpful to appreciate our orientation with Braj. And you can see where Govardhan is in relationship to these forests. And then you can see above Govardhan, we have Nandagan, and we have Varshana, and we have Kumudvana off in the northwest corner there. So just to get the picture, and if we look at it every day and familiarize ourselves with these particular forests, etc., then as I said previously, we can more confidently enter our journey around and not be confused for directions, etc. I think it's helpful for us to orientate ourselves there. So that's our journey for today. So now we've taken our breakfast. Thank you, Manjalali. So now we've taken our breakfast and we're heading out to the very, very beautiful forest of Madhuvana. This forest of Madhuvana is so beautiful because now, of course, the rainy season has just finished and everything is very lush and green. And the reservoirs and the rivers are full of reasonably pure, clean water. And there's a very clean atmosphere in the air. Especially this year, we've had late seasonal rains. So it'll be even more beautiful, in fact. It'll be cooler. And because generally at this time of the year, it's still quite hot, but now it's going to be cooler and more comfortable for our journey, certainly. So now we arrive in this very, very beautiful, intoxicatingly beautiful forest of Madhuvana. And we see, first of all, in front of us, a huge, beautiful, clean kund. This is Krishna kund. So this is very soothing for the consciousness to see this and to see all the green trees and the blossoming vines, etc., all around. And also, we're very much aware that we're out of the congestion now of crowded Vrindavan. Vrindavan is very crowded at this time in Kartik in particular. So when we come out here, it's like a whole shift in consciousness of sweetness and openness. We can sort of see the horizon, etc. And it's the devotees become very joyful when they come to Krishna Kund. So arriving here, then we generally we can circumambulate this Kund, Krishna Kund, with kirtan, is how we've traditionally done that, just to honor this entire forest and to familiarize ourselves with it just by circumambulating this whole Kund. And then we can put some archaman on our heads, etc., taking shelter of this Kund. I was going to put the picture of the Kund up. Oh, you put all the pictures up. Just the picture of the Kund. Ranjalali?
Yes, this is what I see on my screen. Do you see something else?
I just want Krishna Kund, not all the other pictures.
Yes. So, okay, on my screen, I just see Krishna Kund. This is the problem.
On my screen, I see about 7 or 8 pictures.
Okay, I will do it again. One sec. Sometimes it seems to not picking it up correctly when I share my screen. I will do it again. Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
So this is the beautiful Krishna Kund where we've just arrived, and we've just circumambulated around this gorgeous Kund, and we're appreciating the atmosphere and speciality of the rural setting where we found ourselves this morning. It's very beautiful, and we have beautiful kirtan, strong kirtan, and then we all assemble just beside that spiral-shaped temple there in the center, just off to our left. We all sit there, the devotees, to hear
It's not just me who's lost Maharaj, right?
No.
Okay. We'll just give him a moment.
some Harikata.
Maharaj. Oh. Just got a glimpse. Damn, it's the internet is going down. I'll send him a message now. If not.
Can you hear me now, Tarun?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
We lost you for about a minute.
Let's
turn our videos off, other than Maharaj.
No. Yeah. Although I don't know that makes so much difference, Yashoda, really. It's my video that makes the difference. Your videos don't challenge my connection, I don't think. Anyway, so we've just circumambulated this very beautiful, gorgeous Kund of Krishna Kund, and we're sitting down now to listen to some Harikatha about Madhuvana. Madhuvana is an extraordinary forest, and it has pastimes that span the 4 yugas very beautifully. In Satya Yuga, there was a demon called Madhu, and Krishna came and he killed that demon. And from that time, the forest became called Madhuvana, and it became called Madhuvana also after Madhav. Madhav, of course, means springtime, which is a name of Krishna as well, because it's such a beautiful location. So there's not a lot of detail on that particular demon, and yet we understand in Satya Yuga that Krishna killed that immense demon of Madhu. And then coming down straight away into Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga, there was another demon. He was also called Madhu. And this demon was originally from the Surya Vamps, from the Sun dynasty. And he originally was a very pious personality, dharmic, but due to poor association, he took to very low, degraded ways and became very harsh in his dealings with the local environment. And he began to harass all the meditating rishis, etc., in this area. And to such a degree where there was a king, Mugdata, and he attacked him. And this demon, or he had become a demon now, this Madhu, and he had a practically invincible trident. This trident he had acquired from Sankarji. And with this trident, he was invincible. So he defeated this king who came to purify the area and rid him of his cruel influence. And then his son, Lavanasura, after that demon Madhu Asura, he left this world, then he gave that potent trident to his son, Lavanasura. And then Lavanasura, taking the same cue from his father, also began to persecute the meditating rishis, etc., and just create a lot of disturbance in the area to such a degree where the residents, they appealed to Lord Ram at that time. At this time, Lord Ram is in Ayodhya. Ayodhya is quite practically 1,000 miles, I think maybe less, from Madhuvana, but they appealed to him to please protect them from this demon Lavanasura, who was disturbing them so extensively. So Ram, of course, in his mood of unlimited compassion, he decided to send his dear younger brother Satrughna to purify the land of this demon Lavanasura. And initially, Satrughna was very much unhappy to be given that order to leave the lotus feet of his divine brother, Lord Ramchandra. Still, on the order and request of his brother, he was duty bound to fulfill that request. But he begged before leaving, can I please take this most beautiful deity of Varahadev, Adi Varahadev, with me to bring great auspiciousness to that land of Mathura and Madhuvan. Just after this area would be called Mathura, after the forest of Madhuvan. So Lord Ram, he consented to that idea that Satrughna could carry this most sacred Adivaraha deity. This deity had originally been worshipped by a very pure Brahmana called Kapila. And that Kapila was approached by Indra Dev, seeing the splendor and beauty of Varahadev, this deity. He requested, you come to Swagaloka and you please perform your worship of this deity in Swagaloka. So that Brahmana, he agreed and he went to Swagaloka with Lord Indra and he continued his worship until he left his body. And at that time, Indra, he also began to worship that deity. And my Gurudev describes that even Hanumanji at one point worshipped this beautiful deity of Adivaraha. This deity of Adivaraha that we see on the screen now is the first Varaha personality. There's two Varahadevs. There's Adivaraha, who is the darkish, shyam-colored Varaha, and there's Sweta Varaha, the light-complexioned Varahadev. Adivaraha appears in the Swayambhuva Manu era, which is the first Manvantara at the beginning of Lord Brahma's day. There's 14 Manus in the day of Lord Brahma, and the first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. So Adivaraha, he manifested from the nostril of Lord Brahma and he rescued Mother Earth from the Garbhodak ocean and placed her in her orbit, etc. And then he leaves, he disappears and goes back to his Vaikuntha realm. Unlike the second Varaha, who is the Sweta Varaha, who appears in the Chakshush Manvantara, which is the previous Manvantara to this Manvantara we are in now. We are in the 7th Manu. So in the 6th Manu, Sweta Varaha appears, and he appears from the ocean, and he kills Hiranyaksha, and he's called Nira Varahadev. So both of these Varahadevs, their deity forms today are situated, this exact same deity is situated in the city of Mathura, just behind the Dwarkadish temple there. So we can have darshan of that Adi Varaha. So Satrughna, he left carrying this beautiful, gorgeous deity of Lord Varahadev to bring auspiciousness to his quest to purify the land of Madhuvana, the forest of Madhuvana. Thank you, Manjulali. So then when he came, he arranged his army to block the cave entrance where Lavan Asura stayed. He waited, they hid in the bushes, etc., and they waited until Lavan Asura went out hunting. They knew he left his sacred trident within the cave when he went out hunting. So Satrughna situated himself between the cave and the pathway where Lavan Asura would return. And when Lavan Asura returned from his hunting, carrying huge elephants and different sorts of animals that he had killed, he was a massive demon. Then Satrughna fought with him and wouldn't allow him entrance into his cave to retrieve the trident. And as a result, Lavan Asura was slain by Satrughna due to his careful planning, etc. So this was a very joyous occasion, and all the demigods, they rained down flowers, etc. And Satrughna, he took that Varaha deity and established the city of Mathura. And that deity today, we can actually have darshan of that deity in Mathura. But there's a very beautiful deity here in Madhuvan of Satrughna. If Manjulali has that deity. Yes. So this is the deity that we can see now today. This is Satrughna in Madhuvan. And just a simple deity, but still the potency of that deity and that pastime and that leela is so much prominent in the atmosphere when we come to Madhuvan. So now, moving along to the next age, which is Dwarpa Yuga. At the same time, by the way, in the leela in Satya Yuga, Dhruva Maharaj, he performed his austerity in this very forest of Madhuvan. And this morning we're going to hear this whole narration by Pujapad Nemi Maharaj. Afterwards, we're going to hear the whole pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva, he has his place of austerity very close by to this Krishna Kund. So now in Dwarpa Yuga, so that's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and in Dwarpa Yuga, there's the so many beautiful pastimes of when Krishna would come with the cowherd boys and thousands of cows. At this time, when he came to Madhuvan, it's described that he had been sanctioned to take care of the cows now. Now Krishna is in his Poganda age, between the ages of the years of 6 to 10. And it's described very beautifully at this time that Mother Earth was really able to relish more fully the beauty of his footprints walking across her surface, because now, as I said yesterday, at the Poganda age, his feet had become broader. His chest was also broader. His waist was more narrow. He'd grown into this youthful age of a 6-year-old. And the first Gopastami is described that there's 2 Gopastamis in the month of Kartik. The first is when Krishna is given permission to take the calves out. And there's a whole pastime about that. Mother Yashoda definitely doesn't want Krishna to go into the dark, foreboding forest with the calves and just the cowherd boys to play. She's greatly opposed. So they have to have a very extensive meeting of all the elders, Nanda Baba, Upananda, Sunanda, Abhinanda. All of the senior men of the village have to have a meeting to decide, can Krishna take the calves out? So similarly, when Krishna was, his age indicated that he was ready to tend to the cows, there was also another meeting to grant Krishna permission for that. And then when Krishna was finally granted permission to take the cows now out cow grazing, then there was great celebration and festivity in the village of Braj. And when Krishna goes out for the first day, all of the mothers and all of the houses, they all offer arti to Krishna as he goes on his journey. So the first day of Gopastami, it takes Krishna a long time to reach the forest. And then finally, almost as soon as he reaches the forest, many servants arrive with all sorts of prasadam, etc. And then very shortly after, they have to return to the village. But on this day, this is the 2nd or 3rd day after Gopastami, that he comes out to Madhuvana, and he's bringing all the cows. They have millions and millions of cows. We cannot estimate the numbers of cows. It's described as lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of cows. I think it's that Krishna has 9 lakhs of cows. Sri Ram has 11 lakhs of cows. So if you've ever seen large groups of cows here in Vrindavan, it's absolutely breathtaking. Sometimes if you're fortunate on the road traveling around, you'll see for almost 40, 50 minutes, if you're standing in one place, these cows just passing by, these beautiful white Surabhi cows and sometimes speckled cows. There's 125 different types of cows that are described in the Bhagavatam. So many beautiful types. Some have large mridanga heads, some are speckled, some are pure white, some are blackish, some are gray colored, some are more reddish color. So all the different cows have been described by the acharyas for our immersion in the moods of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna, he takes the cows out, of course, to relish pastimes with the sakas in the fields, particularly when he comes to Madhuvana. Madhuvana is such a inviting pasturing ground for the boys and the cows. There's so much beautiful fresh grass here, etc. And my Gurudev describes how Krishna, he'll call out to the cows. He'll say, diri, diri. This means go slowly, go slowly. Then he'll say, hoya, hoya. This means come on, come on. Then he'll say, tiri, tiri. This means to drink the water, drink the water. So, and of course, he'll be playing on his flute, speaking to each particular cow. So this remembrance of Krishna's beautiful, sweet cowherd pasturing pastimes are performed extensively in this forest of Madhuvana. Also, my Gurudev describes that sometimes Krishna would rendezvous with the gopis later on to meet here in this forest. But at this time when we have come, we've just come at the beginning of Krishna's Poganda age, when that full conjugal rasa hasn't fully externally blossomed between the gopis and Krishna. Nevertheless, Krishna is aware when he comes of the gopis peeping through the various foliage of the trees around. So it's a very festive and beautiful occasion when Krishna comes to this Madhuvan forest with all his cows, and cowherd boys to relish the sweetness there. And then at this time also, there's one mantra that we can all chant together. And this is described as bringing great auspiciousness to the devotees who come to this forest of Madhuvana in particular. So I'm just going to say this mantra, and I didn't make a copy of it to put on the screen, but you'll find in your parikrama books, it's right on the first page describing the auspiciousness of reciting this mantra to give us entrance into meditation on this divine forest. So the first word is Om, Hram, Krim, Madhuvanadi, Pataya, Madhavaya, Namaha, Swaha. That's the very simple mantra. I'll just repeat it one more time for our benefit. Om, Kram, Krim, Madhavanadi, Patayaya, Madhavaya, Namaha, Swaha. So by reciting this mantra, it's described that all the flavors of this Madhuvan forest will infuse our consciousnesses very simply, and auspiciousness will prevail for us.
Can you repeat the fifth word, please, Maharaj? Fifth one.
Om Hram Hrim, Madhavanadi, and then Pataye, Pataye.
Thank you.
Okay, so empowered by this mantra, now our appreciation for the forest becomes more enhanced, and our appreciation particularly for the beautiful cowherd pastimes that Krishna performs here. And then it's described in Kali Yuga that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes here on his very brief visit to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu only spends 10 days in Vrindavan practically, because the mood of being reminded of Shyam manifests in his heart rather than relishing the mood of Sri Radhika, which is why Mahaprabhu has actually advented, is to taste the sweetness and speciality of Radhika's love for him. This is why he's manifested. So when he comes to Vrindavan, then very much an Udipan manifest of attraction for Krishna's pastimes, and he's feeling himself taking on again that Shyam hue, because the cows, they all come and lick him. And the beauty and sweetness of kunds like this Krishna kund remind him, of course, of 5,000 years ago when he was here herding the cows, etc. So Mahaprabhu, when he comes at that time, my Gurudev describes, he has a spurti of Krishna and his pastimes here. And Mahaprabhu, he faints in ecstasy at receiving that spurti. And the devotees that are around him and with him, they go into a tumultuous kirtan to bring him back to consciousness. But Mahaprabhu, he deeply relishes the sweetness and speciality of this place. So this is Madhuvan. And also here, we have an exceptional temple of Dalbai, of Balaram Dev, Baladev Prabhu. Just as we enter the sitting area of Madhuvan, there's a very beautiful temple. So Manjulali, you have that picture with Gurudev walking into that temple and the devotees. You can put on the screen now.
Yeah, one sec. You mean this one?
With Gurudev, yes.
Yeah.
So this is Gurudev entering into this temple. This was probably in about 97, 98, maybe later, maybe 2002, 2003. And all the devotees are there, you can see. So this is Srila Gurudev entering into this temple that I'm talking about now. Now, Manjulali, if you can put the Baladev Prabhu, the black Baladev, onto the screen.
Yeah. The one from
Baladev, but no, the one black.
Other one. Where is it? No. Here. Yeah. Coming. Can you see it?
Hasn't come up yet. Yes, there it is. Okay. Yes. So this is Baladev Prabhu. So we know that Baladev Prabhu was in Dwarka and he was feeling great pains of separation from Vrindavan and the Brijabasis. And he was trying to convince Krishna to actually return. But of course, we know that it's impossible for Krishna to return because Krishna still has various demons to kill on the planet. He has the whole battle of Kurukshetra to perform and so on. So Krishna has his services for himself, his duty, the reason for his advent. Parityanaya sadhanam vinashayata dustrikam. He's come to purify all the demons on the planet at their request, at the request of the Lord Brahma and the Devas. So if he came back, he couldn't leave again. This is how Gurudev has explained it, that if he just came back even for a brief visit, the second time he left, again, the gopis and the Brijbasis would not be able to tolerate Krishna leaving for a second time. So the first time he leaves, of course, as we know, for 100 years. Once Akrura takes him in the chariot to Mathura, and then eventually he comes to Dwarka. But he's away for 100 years. If he went back, then the gopis' separation would not be able to cope with a second leaving by Krishna. So Krishna can't return. But Baladev, in this beautiful deity that we've just had darshan with, of Baladev in Madhuvana, he comes and the gopis are there, and they are so much in a mood of feeling separation from Krishna that Baladev himself, if you just put that deity up again, Manjulali, Baladev, black Baladev.
Coming. Can you see it?
Yes, thank you. So if you expand this deity, you see this very beautiful deity. He's blackish. This is Balaram in the blackish form. We also see Balaram black in Nandagown. If you see on the altar there, on the hill, on the top of the hill, Baladev is also black at that time in the company of his dear brother Krishna, who is blackish like that. And that's because he's completely immersed in a mood of Shyam, of Krishna. So this is a very beautiful deity. There are not so many deities of Krishna, of Baladev, this color, but this is an exceptional deity of Baladev. Generally, we see him white. So thank you, Manjulali. That's very beautiful deity. Yes. So that was Baladev in Madhuvana. So now we've covered the 4 ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga with Shatrugna coming, and we've seen the deity there at Madhuvana of Shatrugna, and we've also heard something of the pastime, the cow grazing pastimes of Krishna in Madhuvana during the Dwapara Yuga, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming there and having a spurti of Krishna's pastimes. And then also Baladev Prabhu has manifested this dark complexion form of himself there for our darshan. So this is Madhuvana, and we're very fortunate to come here and be here on this day. And it's the very beginning of our bus journey into the countryside of Vrindavan. So we're very much appreciating this particular setting today. So now we're going to walk for about 3/4 of a kilometer, just a little ways through, we're going to go through a little wooded area, and we're going to climb up many steps, and then we're going to come into the actual place where Dhruva performed his pastimes, his austerities, under the direction of Narad. And our beloved Srila Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj is going to describe in detail the Dhruva Charita today. So thank you very much. That is Madhuvan Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Maharaj. I think you summarized at the end very nicely as well. I just want to add my appreciation for you very specifically describing the precise journey on the parikram. I think that's actually very special. I think it's so important. I know it's very important for you as well. That's why you're doing it, and it's just very. It just adds to this feeling that we really are going on parikram.
We
really are being absorbed. But yeah, and this is what I'm realizing as well, Maharaj, because I was fortunate a couple of years ago to go to Vrindavan, but there were so many times when I was maybe physically in Vrindavan, but mentally in many, many other places. And I'm realizing it's so important to be mentally in Vrindavan. And when you describe the route on the bus, starting outside Gopinath Bhavan, taking prasad in Mathura, and just all of these memories are coming back when, arriving at Krishna Kund, when I saw the picture and the deity of Baladev. So it really does feel like we're on parikram. We are on parikram.
Yes, it's the month of Kartik. Yes. Okay.
So
thank you, Tom.
Just to reiterate, Pujapad Nemi Maharaj will be speaking on Dhruva Tila for, I think, 30 to 40 minutes. And yes, you've unmuted. Haribol.
Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmritanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhujale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Nara. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmana Shishi Mada Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Nara. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Pristhaya Bhutale Shishi Ma Bhakti Vigyam Bharti Titi Namane. Vansha Kalpatiribhyascha Kripasindribhyacha Putitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaiti Gadadhar Shivasadi Shiva Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Of my humble obeisances, my beloved Diksha Guru, Nityalila Bhavishta Shishima Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, my beloved Shiksha and Sannyas Guru, Rupanugavara Shishima Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my beloved Shiksha Guru, Shri Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, all acharyas now Rupanugavara Varga, and now for my obeisances to all devotees, headed by Pujapat Sridhani Maharaj, Yashodhananda Prabhu, and all senior devotees. Hare Krishna. I want to begin by appreciating Srila Gurudev, who practically initiated us into Braj Mandal Parikrama. He said, why do we go and offer obeisances? Are we offering obeisances to sticks and stones? No. We're offering obeisances, actually, the personalities. All of these places, they're all personalities. The whole spiritual world is personality. And they've appeared in this material world also. And all of these places have their own particular moods. So our blessing will be when we can settle into those moods. I remember one particular time, we were with Srila Gurudev at Prem Sarovara, which is where where Madhumangal chased away the bumblebee that was bothering Srimati Radhika, and came back and said, oh, Madhusudan's gone, he'll never return. And Srimati Radhika went into deep, deep mood there. She was sitting by Krishna, or maybe sitting on Krishna's lap. Oh, Madhusudan's gone. Crying and crying, lost consciousness, and Krishna's amazed at her love, and he also crying and losing consciousness, and everybody around, all. So Srila Gurudev recited this, narrated this pastime, and then he said, so now offer obeisances. So he offered obeisances and sat up, and he said, now offer obeisances again with mood. So this mood is actually the essence of parikrama. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, he said that actually it's useless to perform parikrama unless we're with devotees in whose hearts the fire of separation is burning fiercely. And he narrated how his Guru Maharaj was in that mood, and they performed parikrama also with Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. So we're fortunate if we can remember how Srila Gurudev performed parikrama, how he inspired us with his Harikatha, which is still, the mood of that is still preserved in the parikrama book. So I'm offering my obeisances at his lotus feet. One thing in one of his early books, and I don't remember which one it is, there's a picture of Srila Gurudev sitting beneath a tree. And that tree is where we've come to Madhuvana. That tree is there. It's up by Dhruvatila, the hill where Dhruva Maharaj performed his austerities. Dhruva Maharaj is a great devotee, an astounding devotee, an astounding hero. When he was 5 years old, he's the son of Uttanapad. Uttanapad had two children, two sons, Uttam and Dhruva. So he had two wives, Suruchi and Suniti. Suniti refers to the Shastric injunction. Suruchi means taste for material things. So Suruchi was the mother of Uttam. And she was the favorite queen, actually, of Uttanapad. So one day, Uttam was sitting on the lap of Uttanapad. And that's the son of Suruchi. And Dhruva also wanted, his 5-year-old boy, he also wants affection from his father. This is very important. The protection and affection of the father is very important when a child grows up, either a girl or a boy, both different influences. But Uttanapad, he was a little self-conscious because Suruchi was there. Suniti was not there. Suruchi was there, his other wife, the mother of Uttam. And he was aware that she was not that happy about, she was critical of Dhruva. So Uttanapad didn't particularly welcome Dhruva Maharaj. And then when Suruchi saw this, she said, oh, you think that you can get onto the king's lap? You cannot. You cannot be his favorite. Only my son can be his favorite. If you want to get on your father's lap, if you want to get your father's favor, you will have to perform austerities. You will have to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then you will have to take birth from my womb. Means you'll have to die, perform austerities, die, and then be born as my child. Then you will get his favor. Dhruva, he's a young boy, but he's a kshatriya. His father's Uttanapad, kshatriya, king of the whole empire, whole world. And then his father, Swayambhuva Manu. So Swayambhuva Manu is the ruler of the whole universe. And his father is Lord Brahma, who's the creator of the whole universe. So Dhruva has this kshatriya spirit so fiercely. And two qualities are that Kshatriya, they're very, very conscious of their prestige and honor, is one. And the other is that they'll never leave a battle. So Dhruva was so affected. He ran to his mother, he was breathing, he was like a snake. Snakes don't hiss, you know, like that. So his mother found out from others what had happened. And she was crying. She was very, very much affected by her son's grief. And she said, actually, what your stepmother has said is true. You're very unfortunate because you've been born from an unfortunate woman. I don't have the favor of your father. And what she said is true. Actually, you will have to perform austerities and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I can't see any recourse other than that. So Dhruva had this in his mind, that he's this conquering mood. He was angry with his stepmother on the one hand, and on the other hand, he wanted to get even, and more than even. So he wanted an empire greater even than his great-grandfather. His father is Uttanapad. His grandfather is Swayambhuva Manu, emperor of the universe. And his great-grandfather is Brahmaji, who's the creator of the universe. He said, I want an empire greater than my great-grandfather, greater than anything anyone has ever achieved before. This is success mentality. And he was fixed. He's really, really fixed. I will get it. And he went to the forest. He heard, so I have to go to the forest. So Krishna, knowing everything, he sent Narada Muni to Dhruva. And Narada Muni came. Dhruva understood who is Narada Muni. So Narada Muni said, how wonderful it is, this fighting spirit of the Kshatriyas. But you're just a little boy. You should go back home. This mystic yoga practice you want to practice, it's very, very austere. It's very difficult. I think young children, they can't do this. So you should go back home, and later on when you're grown up, then you can do it. Actually, it is not good to become attached either to praise or to dishonor. So the best thing is you should just become peaceful and go back home and let it be. Like I was saying yesterday, there's a 6-word mantra for people who are in anxiety. Accept, face, float, let time pass. So Narada Muni, he's making this, giving this advice to Dhruva. Don't take it so seriously. Just go back home. Dhruva said, please forgive me. I'm sorry. You're giving instructions which are just suitable for somebody who's Brahminical in quality. I'm not Brahminical. I'm Kshatriya. I can't do this. My blood is boiling with this desire to get a great kingdom. I want this achievement. I want this achievement. So Narada Muni actually was testing him. He said, okay, then I'll teach you. And then he gave Dhruva detailed instructions that how he should perform. He should go to Madhuvana. And there he should take bath in Kalindi, Yamuna Kalindi, blessed, sacred. Actually, the form of liquid prem, Yamuna, and the form of Vishaka Devi also. Very, very blessed. So you should take bath 3 times daily, perform austerities, and then he gave instructions how he should worship. He can make a form out of earth or clay and worship with whatever paraphernalia is available, and he should take fruits and berries from the forest and be satisfied with that. And then he described that how you should meditate on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the heart. 4 arms, club, conch, disc, lotus flower, beautiful crown, cost of money, glittering, his toenails glittering, fingernails glittering. Anyone who meditates on this form of the Lord, they will never fall down. They'll become completely absorbed and never fall down. And then he gave them the mantra. He said, but if you chant this mantra for 6 months, then all success will be yours. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Initiated him into the chanting in this mantra. Just like my Guru Maharaj, always before class, giving class, he would chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Srila Shukadeva Goswami also, before narrating Bhagavatam, also began like that. So Dhruva went to the forest, and as instructed, he was worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his mind. Deep, deep concentration, intense determination. So he started off eating fruits and berries every 3 days, becoming more and more absorbed in his concentration. Then, that was in the first month. In the second month, he was eating dry leaves and grass every 6 days. He's a young boy, 5 years old. Just imagine what we were doing at 5 years old, what we could have done. And then in the third month, he gave up eating altogether, and he was just drinking water. Drinking water every 9 days, becoming more and more withdrawn from all his physical activities. And then in the, where we got to, fourth month, he was breathing once every 12 days. Deep, deep, very deep concentration on the form, personality of the Supreme Personality Godhead within his heart. Because Narada Muni is so powerful, he'd initiated him. And because he was following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, so all success was coming to him. And then in the fifth month already, he was completely fixed. He'd stopped breathing, closed all the holes of in his body, and he was carrying the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. And the Supreme Lord is a full, like he contains the whole material energy, everything. So Dhruva was so powerful, had become so powerful that he was pressing down the whole earth. Like comparison is given in Bhagavatam, just like if you put an elephant in a boat, like a boat in India, right? They're not very huge, and elephants are very huge. So if you put an elephant in a boat, the boat's going to be rocking backwards and forwards with the weight of the elephant. So Dhruva Maharaj had become so powerful that the whole earth was rocking by his weight, and the breathing of the whole universe had become choked up. Nobody could breathe properly. So the demigods also. So they went to the Supreme Lord and they said, what's happening? We can't breathe. All living entities all throughout the world, all throughout the universe, they've all become choked up. So what's happening? And the Supreme Lord said, yes, this is because my devotee Dhruva, he's become very powerful in his yoga practice. I will go to see him. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada says, even if there's one devotee who really carries the Lord within his heart, it's as if he can make the whole universe tremble. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada, in this part of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada is indirectly, he's referring to himself. So then Lord Vishnu got on the back of Garuda and he went to see Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj is standing on one foot, pressing down on the whole earth, and in his heart, deep, vivid samadhi, deep realization of the form of the Supreme Lord, his beautiful face, his merciful glance, his kindness towards his devotees. And then suddenly his meditation broke. He opened his eyes And there's that Supreme Lord standing in front of him. Dhruva was in ecstasy, fell down on the ground in front of Lord Vishnu, and then he's gazing at him in awe and reverence and love. And he wants to offer some prayers. The Supreme Lord, whom he's been worshipping so intently, 6 months, he's just appeared in front of him, and he wants to offer prayers, but he's just a young boy. He hasn't been sitting in on Bhagavatam classes or anything like that, not familiar with philosophy. So Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, being very kind, he reached forward and he touched Dhruva Maharaj, touched him on the forehead with his conch. And Dhruva, immediately, he became conversant with all fundamental truths of the universe, all fundamental truths of creation, fundamental truths of the Supreme Lord, his relationship with devotees. And he began to praise Lord Vishnu with very beautiful prayers, very meaningful prayers. And at the end, he prayed that I am desperately anxious to have the association of devotees, because he saw clearly that his good fortune, seeing Lord Vishnu, his good fortune had come by the mercy of Narad Muni. So he's praying. See if I can find that verse. Oh, unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nescient ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I'm becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent. And then he says that if somebody associates with a devotee, is always hankering for your service, your lotus feet, he never becomes attached to the material body, material possessions, like that. So this prayer is very meaningful for us. Remembering, as I said at the beginning, remembering how Srila Gurudev took us on parikrama. Now we've had the association, Srila Prabhupada, our Gurudev, Srila Bharati Maharaj, other great Vaishnavas, Srila Bhakti Kama Govinda Maharaj, some Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Goswami Maharaj. But where are such great souls now? It's not so easy to find the transcendental association with devotees who are constantly engaged in service to the Lord, as waves are flowing constantly in a river. So then Lord Vishnu gave him full blessings, and he said, what you've asked for is very difficult to attain. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. So Lord Vishnu had already created the planet, and he gave Dhruva Maharaj the benediction that he could stay on the pole star. And the pole star is actually, it's a transcendental planet which is not destroyed even when this material universe is destroyed. Lord Vishnu himself lives there. So it's within this material world on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's not destroyed when this material world is destroyed. So in this way, Dhruva actually got a position which is greater than anybody, even Lord Brahma didn't get that. When Lord Brahma wants to be with Vishnu or wants to hear from Vishnu, so they go to Shvetadvip and then perform, they'll offer prayers, Purusha Shukta prayers, and Lord Brahma may hear the voice of Shri Vishnu, and the other demigods will have to hear from him what Lord Vishnu said. So Dhruva Maharaj, he attained an extraordinary position. And then, having given him this benediction, his blessings, Lord Vishnu got on the back of Garuda and went back to his abode. So was Dhruva Maharaj exhilarated? Oh, now I've got what I wanted. Yes, I'm the greatest person in the universe. Yes. No, he wasn't satisfied. Actually, he prayed to the Lord that I was looking for a piece of broken glass and I found a diamond. I don't want anything else. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm having gotten darshan of your transcendental form, having received the blessings from your transcendental personality. I don't want anything else. But Lord Vishnu said, no. You were performing austerities. You were asking for benediction. Those prayers can't go in vain. So you'll live for 35,000 years, but you won't grow old. And Dhruva Maharaj, he was very unhappy with this. He just wanted to engage in devotional service. But he was told that you'll rule as king. When your father becomes older, he'll put you on the throne. He'll go to the forest. Your brother Uttam will die. And then his mother, Suruchi, will become mad when her son dies, and she'll be consumed in the forest fire. And you will rule the kingdom for 35,000 years. So he went back home. And meanwhile, Narada Muni had gone to see Uttanapad, the king. Hey, Uttanapad, how are you doing? It looks as though you're very withered. Your face is withered and dry. What's wrong? Uttanapad said, I'm so cruel. I banished my son just out of affection for my other wife. And my other Suniti also I practically banished. How cruel I am. And I think that he must have been consumed in the forest by animals. Narada Muni said, no. Actually, he'll become very great. His influence will be spread very, very quickly, very soon. Reassured Uttanapad. So after this incident, when Vishnu appeared to Dhruva, and he started going back home, then a messenger came to Uttanapad that your son is returning. Uttanapad could hardly believe. He thought for sure his son had died in the forest. He could hardly believe that his son could return. It was like he was coming back from the kingdom of the dead. But having heard that he was coming, he got on his elephant. He got on a chariot, and then the queen Suruchi, Suniti, and Uttam, his brother, they all got in a palanquin, and then they had huge procession. Vedic brahmanas chanting hymns, music with instruments, and they were going to meet this little boy, Dhruva. But he wasn't the same little boy who'd left home. He was blazing with the glory of his meeting with the Supreme Lord, his blessings from the Supreme Lord. But very humble. So the whole procession came, and Uttanapad, when he saw him on the road, little boy on the road, he jumped from his chariot and ran, embraced him, bathed him in tears. And then Dhruva came and he offered obeisances at his father's lotus feet, offered obeisances to his mother's. He and Uttam, they embraced. So like this, they all went back home. And then the Bhagavatam describes how he was living at home. They were living like in heavenly planets. So very happily, they were living very happily. And after some time, as Narada Muni had said, see, according to the natural inclination, Uttanapad would have given his kingdom to Uttam because he was very affectionate to Suruchi, the mother of Uttam. And Dhruva would not have sat on the throne. But one day Uttam, he wasn't married, he went into the forest hunting, which is an occupation of kshatriyas. Kshatriyas have to kill sometimes. It's not their main business, but kshatriya means to protect from harm. So sometimes they have to kill contrary elements. So they go to the forest and they'll hunt animals. So he went, and during the hunting expedition, he was killed by a yaksha. And then Suruchi, she went after him, and then there was a forest fire, and she was consumed in the forest fire. So after that, Uttanapad, when he saw that Dhruva was old and mature and fit to rule, so he put him on the throne, and then he went to the forest. So this is actually the Vedic system. It's not that politicians hang on till their last years with the influence and like we see today, like psychopathic megalomaniacs rule to get control and riches and power, not taking care of the citizens at all, not looking after the needs of the citizens for what we're being, knowing, and love, creatures of being, knowing, and loving. They're not helping the citizens to raise the level of their consciousness to love of God, love for Krishna at all, oppressing them. But in the Vedic system, so the king, he rules, looks after the subjects, and when his children, maybe when he's age 50, when his children are ready to rule, puts them on the throne, gone. No more luxury, no more power, no more opulence. He goes into the forest, just like even Dhritarashtra. When Vidura came and preached to him, he left with his wife. They went to the forest. Kunti also went after them. This is the system. Once they perform their duties, then they go for self-realization. So Uttanapad went, and Dhruva, he ruled for many, many, many years. So there was a great adventure with yakshas, and that's a different story. But this is a story of what happened here in Madhuvana. I'm saying here, it's like Pujapat Chudani Maharaj has taken us out on parikrama. So we're kind of absorbed in that mood. Up on the, Manjulali, can you show, is it Manjulali? Can you show the picture of the deity, please?
Yeah, 1 second.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Picture we are not seeing.
Do you not see it yet?
Nope.
Wait, you should. You see it now?
Your sharing has started. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So this is the picture of Prahlad Maharaj worshipping Lord Narayan. And this is actually on the top of Dhruva Tila. Tila means hill. So this is on the top of Dhruva Tila. Thank you, Manjulani. So Dhruva is a great devotee and he's a great hero. He's Sakham devotee. He's a devotee and he's a hero, and he attained this planet, but not the spiritual world, actually. It's Lord Vishnu's planet within the material world. He still had some material attachment, even when he stepped on the head of death and ascended into the flower plane. He was still looking after his mother. So he's a great personality, a great hero, a great devotee, and he's very much celebrated. He's one of the disciples, elevated disciples of Sri Narad Muni. And Dhruva means fixed in determination. So if we can somehow or other attain a fraction or a fraction of his determination in devotional service, and direct that not for worldly achievements as Dhruva, like young childish desire, actually, great childish desire, but under the direction of our Guru Varga, we can become determined in our service to Krishna. Just like Srila Gurudev used to say, when you perform parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan, he will cheat you. Unless you follow my instruction, you have to go under my protection and don't become bewildered, don't become distracted by other desires. Otherwise, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Nama Chintamani, the holy name is a wish-fulfilling jewel. And if we have desires for anything worldly as we're chanting the holy name, then holy name will manifest those things instead of manifesting love for Krishna, love for Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna, which is our real goal. So these are some of the moods and lessons that we can get from the life and pastimes of Sri Dhruva Maharaj. And now we'll return to our organizers. Vansha kalpatarubhascha kripasindavircha putitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Maharaji? Very beautiful katha, thank you. Could you possibly repeat slowly the prayer of Dhruva to Lord Vishnu? I just want to write it down. I found one on the net, but I don't think it's as good as the one you have.
The one that I read, the verse that I read?
Yeah. Maybe give us, yeah. About associating with devotees.
Yeah, the reference is Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 11. I mean, I'll just read it out, but if I read it out so slowly, you dictate it, we'll be here for like 10 minutes. Dhruva Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nescient ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I'm becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent. And the next verse is, O Lord, who has a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always hankers after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he's never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. So that's Canto 4, Chapter 9, and text 11 and 12.
That's brilliant. Thank you. I've got it open now. That's wonderful.
And yeah, this is around 83 minutes. So if anyone wants to go back and write that down afterwards, listen back over the recording and write it down specifically, then 83 minutes is the timestamp to check. I want to thank you, Maharaj, for speaking. And just like yesterday when the leelas were spoken with such precision and so much detail, again today, obviously I've heard this leela before, but I don't think I've heard in such great depth. But I want to pick up on one specific point that you made around halfway through. You said something along the lines of, because he was following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, his meditation was successful. So I think this is such an important point, that it was by the mercy of his Guru Maharaj. And that's one of the many lessons that we can realize from this story, that, you know, we're doing this parikram because our Guru Varg have told us to do this parikram, because our Guru Maharajas have told us to do this parikram. So that's the only way it can be successful, because we're following their instruction, not because we're doing it whimsically. Just like you said at the end, that the Srila Gurudev, Srila Naranga Swami Maharaj would say, if we do parikram of Govardhan by ourselves, we'll be cheated. We have to go under his instruction. So thank you very much, Maharaj.
Not only parikrama, all of our devotional service, all chanting, remembering everything, that under their direction, and bearing in mind that our real goal is love for Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna, loving service. Hare Krishna.
Very well. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And now we are returning to Pujyapat Tridandi Maharaj for the last leg of the parikram. And we are going to Talavan, Kumudvana, and Bahulavan. And Maharaj said he'd speak for 30 to 40 minutes, but he said maybe more if he gets fired up. So we all have to pray that Maharaj gets fired up so we can hear more Katha. You should, yeah.
Okay. Dandavats Turunji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pujapad Nemi Maharaj. Very, very beautiful meditation, particularly on emphasizing Guru, particularly how you introduced your whole topic of taking deeper, more serious focus on how we're even able to come into Braj at all. We are so fortunate. Other mats and groups, they don't have such a guru who's so enthusiastic to drag us around every single location, every single year, through all the dust and the difficulties and so on, as our Gurudev did. So it's phenomenal, really, when we think back on what we've, the gift that we've received from him. And as you said, right now, today, we are only going under that same power. Guru is eternal. Guru cannot leave under any circumstances. So it's him who is empowering our whole Zoom expedition, this virtual parikrama around Vrindavan. And as Tarunji was saying at the beginning, it's very convenient for us just to turn on some device and actually come right into Vrindavan. How accessible have the Acharyas arranged it for us? Actually, it's coming from Srila Rupa Goswami. He's saying in that Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtana Shmitya Kramana Rasana Satyoja Tishtem Braje Tanu Ragi, that in order to, the essence of all instruction, in order to actually achieve these higher states of consciousness, one must live in Vrindavan, travel in Vrindavan, be familiar with Vrindavan. So these parikramas, they embody this entirely. If every year we can't make it to that holy land directly, then these substitute virtual parikramas can be so much nourishing for us, because it's what we've got. Anyway, I'm very grateful to you, Maharaj, for bringing that to the forefront, you know, very emphatically at the beginning of your presentation. This is so true.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats.
Dandavats, Maharaj, Dandavats. So now I'm going to ask for the mercy of my beloved Gurudev and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to continue our parikrama from Madhuvana. And if you remember the map that we looked in the beginning, we're going to go to Talavan, which is very close by, perhaps less than 10 kilometers, very, very close indeed. And we're going to be traveling west. And we come to this beautiful, again, another gorgeous forest, especially at this season, in this time when we're coming, because of the rains, etc., and the green and the foliage and so on. So it's described that Krishna and the Sakhas, they would love to come to this particular forest. And in the chapter 15 of the 10th canto, which describes this particular pastime we're going to describe of Talavan and the purification of the demon who resided there, Dhenukasura, the first part of this beautiful chapter is a description of Krishna and Balaram coming into this forest area with all the cows and the sakas, etc. And again, just like we described in Madhuvana to some degree, a great festive atmosphere is taking place between Krishna and the sakas, and Balaram in particular. Krishna is proclaiming to Balaram, just see all the trees, they're all bowing down to take the dust from your holy lotus feet. Just see all the birds are chanting your glories. And he's as if he's proclaiming the omniscience of his divine brother Baladev, which is very interesting because a little later in the chapter, Balaram is going to be the great hero of this particular pastime that's about to unfold at Talavan. So the sakas, they've come into the forest, and this particular day, Srila Jiva Goswami describes, just to give some more udipan to the pastime, somehow or other, they weren't fully satisfied with their breakfast. That's hard to believe, so many mothers cooking for all the sakas, but somehow or other, they had some space in their stomachs, and they came to Krishna and Balaram, and in a mood of viraras or chivalry, like young boys will do. Again, Krishna is at this age of 6 years old, which is a very special age, in fact. Of course, the ages in Vrindavan, as Srila Gurudev has explained, are not like the ages we have in the world today in this Kali Yuga. At the age of 6, they would be far more advanced and mature in so many ways than a 6-year-old is today. Just like we just heard how Dhruva Maharaj at the age of 5, and also Prahlad we hear at that very early age. So back then, 5,000 years ago, it was a different conception of time for the ages. But at 6 years old, they're all incredibly joyful and leading all these millions of cows grazing. And the cowherd boys, Sridham, Sudam, and Stoka Krishna, they approach Krishna and Balaram and they say, you have to defeat this enemy of hunger. We're being afflicted by an enemy of hunger. And we can smell the aroma of these intoxicating ripe fruits called tal fruits. These tal fruits are very large. They look like a palm fruit. They actually grow on like palm-like trees. And they're very, very fragrant and very sweet indeed. So this scent was drifting through the air. And the cowherd boys, for leela's sake, they were approaching Krishna and Balaram to please help us to acquire these fruits. And then they explained, there is a great demon. He's called Dhenukasura. And this is Kamsa's orchard where these fruits are growing. And these two ferocious ass-like demons, they're known to have eaten men alive. Living men they've eaten, to spread absolute fear amongst the local inhabitants, not to go even a whisper close to that forest, because it was in the hands of the demon Kamsa. So Krishna and Balaram, they smile at each other and they think, oh yes, here is a wonderful opportunity to demonstrate our chivalry in the company of the cowherd boys. So yes, they all together, they all go into this forest of Talavan. And as soon as they enter the forest, Balaram, he immediately goes to one of these large tal trees and shakes it very, very strongly. And all the tal fruits begin to drop on the ground. And as soon as the sound of these dropping tal fruits come to the ears of the demons there, Dhenukasura in particular, he comes raging out of the middle of the forest in absolute shocked astonishment that someone should dare to trespass on his property that he's guarding for Kamsa. And he sees Balaram. And just like we described yesterday with Kaliya, he sees Balaram for a moment, but he doesn't acknowledge for a single second his divinity or his beauty. Dhenukasura is so covered. He's covered by how we're going to describe later on, by the mode of ignorance completely. He represents the mode of ignorance. This is how he's being described as the demon, the quality within him that Balaram is going to purify. So this ferocious ass-like demon comes charging towards Balaram and swings around, and with his sharp hind hoofs, he kicks Balaram in the chest. Balaram, he doesn't even flinch, just like a lotus flower has touched his chest, doesn't even flinch at all. And the Sakas, they are clapping and they're very joyful to see this, but they're a little bit trembling at the ferocity of this demon. And then this demon begins to scream in absolute hysterical rage and goes running around and around and around Balaram. And then he charges back at him again. And again, he swings around his hind hoofs and aims a kick again at Balaram's head. And Balaram, very nonchalantly, he just grabs Dhenukasura's hind leg and begins to whirl it around his head. And the force of that centrifugal whirling makes Dhenukasura leave his body. He dies by the force of that twirling around by Balaram. And then Balaram, he throws that donkey, that ass, into the top of the tree, into the top of the tall tree. And the weight of that heavy ass-like demon, it cracks that tree when it lands on the top. And that tree falls against another tree, and it cracks that tree also. And then again, there's a whole like domino effect, and all these trees begin to go down. And at the sound of that, Dhenuka's cohorts, his associates there, they all come raging out of the forest in absolute fury. Who would dare to kill their great leader? And they all, in a very demonic way, attack Balaram and Krishna. Now, Krishna is standing right next to Balaram. And Krishna and Balaram, these two divine brothers, they begin to whirl around both of these ass-like demons. Manjalali, she has a picture of this, I think we can put on the screen now. And just to heighten our appreciation for this pastime. And they're whirling around these
We've lost your sound, Maharaj. You went on mute.
Sorry, okay. And
sorry, Dhenukasura takes me a while, 1 sec.
And they're whirling these demons around their heads and throwing them into the tops of the trees, and all the trees are beginning to crash against each other, and all the fruits are falling down, and the demons, their bodies are falling across the top of the fruits, etc. In fact, contaminating the fruits with their blood, etc. Manjalali, have you got that picture? Doesn't seem to be coming.
No, not yet, sorry.
Okay, don't worry about it. So then all the cowherd boys, etc., they immediately gather around Krishna and Balaram and congratulate them like the great heroes. And again, Kamsa's demons, they've been defeated. And the cowherd boys, they won't touch the fruits because the fruits have now been contaminated. These cowherd boys are exceptional personalities. They are completely Brahminical, and they know all of Shastra, etc. So this is Krishna and Balaram whirling these huge, you see how big the bodies are in comparison to the small boys, and throwing these, I mean, what an amazing pastime, just like with Kaliya, how dramatic. how beautiful, exhibiting this absolute intolerance to ignorance and demonic way of life or demonic personalities daring to enter Vrindavan, but all in the mood of enhancing the love and affection of the cowherd boys. This is increasing their absolute devotion to Krishna, this great heroic personality. So Krishna is performing this pastime to inspire their devotion to him. As we were saying yesterday, everywhere we are going, this is all to inspire our increased devotion to the Supreme Lord. So it's described after these demons have been killed that the cowherd boys, they won't touch the fruits now. And the Pulindas, the Aboriginal people of the area, they come in and they take the fruits. And then Krishna, very joyfully, he returns back to the village of Vrindavan, of Gokul, rather, and with great festivity, etc. And all the boys proclaiming the glories of the Lord's pastimes. So this is the pastime of Dhenukasura. And Srila Jiva Goswami, he describes that in the Bhagavatam, Shukadev, he describes this pastime before the Kalyanaga pastime. We see this is chapter 15, and the Kalyanaga pastime is in 17 and 18. But Jiva Goswami comments that this actually is the incorrect order, because Baladev's appearance day is on in August or late July. And it was for Balaram's appearance day that he'd been kept back from going with Krishna that day. But this pastime was performed in Kartik because it's just after the Gopastami celebration when Krishna is taking the cows out. I described when we were in Madhuvana that Krishna has just got the green light, so to speak, to bring the cows out, and he comes through Madhuvana, and then they come to Talavan with all their cows, etc. So this happens. This is the second Gopastami celebration of Kartik. So Kartik happens after Baladev's Purnima in late July, early August. So then that pastime, Kaliya, must have happened before Dhenukasura. But we see in the ecstasy of Shukadev's delivering all these pastimes to Parikshit Maharaj, that sometimes the order would be rearranged, etc., according to his moods and so on. So now we also understand that Baladev, who has killed this demon, we understand that this demon represents ignorance. So Baladev is Akhanda Guru Mula Tattva. He's the root of all guru. And he is demonstrating how guru has the ability, Sadguru has the ability to purify the ignorance of the conditioned souls. So this ignorance is described in 4 different ways, just for simplicity. We have this very beautiful verse, Maya Vumdasya Jivasya Neonarta Chaturvidu Hridubalyam Chaparado Satrishna Tattva Vibrama. This is describing the 4 anartas that the rishis and sadhus and gurus have so kindly set out for us to appreciate how we can purify these stumbling blocks in our practice of our devotion. We have these various anartas to purify, this stage of anarta nivritti. So the first stage, the first anarta, so to speak, that is described in this verse I've just said, is this Swarup Brahm. This Swarup Brahm, I've just got a list here that you can look and we can just follow very briefly through. We can say, oh, on the list here, it's got Hridaydubalyam first. So this means weakness of heart, attachment to worthless objects not related to Krishna. Each of us individually have to examine this and assess our purification of these attachments that we may still have lingering in our hearts. And then hypocrisy and deceit, this kutinata, and envy on seeing another's property, and pratishta, seeking one's own glory rather than glorifying the Supreme. So this group of anarthas, Hridaya Dubalyam, is extremely deep and extremely difficult to actually purify. And only by the help of Guru are we going to be able to fully purify these lower degraded conditions of consciousness. These conditions of consciousness is what we've carried perhaps for millions of lifetimes. And this is all caused ultimately by the root of envy, envy towards Krishna. All these anarthas have arisen. So this Hridaya Dubalyam, we must contemplate. Whenever we go to this forest of Talavan, generally we hear a description of these anarthas to appreciate the glories of Baladev Prabhu as Akhanda Guru Mula Tattva. He is representing that. And then we have the anartha of aparad, this Nam, Seva, and Dham, and other minute entities. So we have these four anarthas grouped there. And then we have asat trishna, a thirst for material gains, desire for objects of this world, desire for swaga, yogic and mystic powers, and liberation. There's that very beautiful verse, Mukti Mukti Priha Yavat, Pischachi, Hridaya Vartate. Rupa Goswami, he's describing that how can Krishna enter the heart when the desire for material pleasure and liberation, mukti, bhukti and mukti, are still present, rolling about in the jiva's consciousnesses and heart. How can Krishna come in when we're putting importance on the material world around us as our focus and trying to acquire various objects from there? So this has to be purified by the power of the holy name and the nishta to our beloved Gurudev will purify these anarthas. And finally, this tattva brahm, this is swarup brahm, that the jiva has forgotten his real identity as a servant of Krishna. And paratattva brahm, he's confused about who is the absolute, Shiva, Brahm, or Vishnu. And then sadhya sadhana brahm, what is the sadhya, gyan, karma, or bhakti? Which should I follow? Which sadhan should I perform? Should I perform also with Aishwarya mood or Madhurya mood? So this all has to be purified by the instructions and teachings of Guru. And then bhajan, virod, vishaya, brahm, this mayavad impersonal path. So we understand that we have come from the Brahman originally. So our natural tendency towards impersonal vision or impersonal meditation is still lingering within us because we've just come from that eternal realm of the Brahmajyoti. And now, by the mercy of our Guru Vargya, by the mercy of Krishna directly, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, by the mercy of this holy Dham, we're going to attempt to make some inroads into these strong holding anarthas that we carry in any stage of life, whether we're a junior devotee or apparently a senior devotee, in any condition. Actually, as a senior devotee, we perhaps have more need to examine these regularly and to check our purification of these stumbling blocks in our bhajan. Thank you, Manjalali. So now this is Talavan, and we remember how the affection of Baladev as Akhanda Guru Mula Tattva is going to help us through the mercy of Sri Guru to purify these obstacles that we have within our hearts, which is exemplified by the personality of Dhenukasura. So Dhenukasura, he represents ignorance. And only Guru, only Baladev can actually purify that ignorance at its root. So this is a very inspiring place to come on the parikrama, and a sobering appreciation to understand what is our duty in life as sadhaks, to purify our lower degraded tendencies and to very quickly accept with full heart and appreciation the sweetness and glories of devotion towards the Supreme Lord. And then everything becomes very simple. Then our life becomes sublime and becomes totally joyful when there's no need to stumble over these anarthas by the mercy of Guru and the Vaishnavas and the Holy Dham. So by coming here and rolling in the dust of Talavan today, we can beg the Lord piteously to please give me strength. Please, Srila Gurudev, give me strength to overcome these lower tendencies of my conditioned nature and quickly come to the joyful, sweet appreciation of pure devotion to the supreme divine couple of Radha and Krishna. So this is the forest of Talavan. As I said previously, it's an amazingly beautiful place. There's a beautiful kund here called Baladev Kund, and there's beautiful deity here also. I think we have that deity, Manjalali, of Balaram on that on the altar there with Krishna. Do you have that, Manjalali?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm just sharing my screen. You mean this one?
Yes. So this is Baladev and Krishna. Baladev is larger than Krishna in this picture, and because Baladev performs this purifying pastime of Dhenukasura, and Krishna is especially pleased when he sees his divine brother inspiring the sakhas so immensely and inspiring all of us, of course, for posterity. So this is Baladev Prabhu Ki Jai. This is Talavan Forest. Thank you, Manjalali. So now we've come from Madhuvana, traveling west, and then we've come up a little bit to Talavan. Now, when we leave the place of Talavan, we can look across to our right, which is looking across to the north. As we're leaving the temple at Talavan, Srila Gurudev would always tell us to offer our obeisances to Kumudvana. Kumudvana is in the distance of about 5 or 7 miles. We can't practically see it. We can just see the tops of the trees and a little bit of a lake with some lotuses there. So there's no road that the Parikrama party can actually go on easily to reach Kumudvana. So we don't actually go and walk in the land of that forest, except if you come on a private Parikrama, then you can walk through the dusty side roads, etc., and you can reach that sacred place of Kumudvana. And Kumudvana, again, is just another exceptional, beautiful forest that is described as where Krishna would sport, and particularly he would meet Sri Radhika in Kumudvana. And also, this is the place where Santana Maharaj, he meditated. This was prior to Krishna's advent. This is more than 5,000 years ago. Shantanu Maharaj, we know from our Mahabharata, his first wife is Ganga Devi. And Shantanu Maharaj, he meditates here at this place of Shantanu Kund, is in Kumudvana. He meditates and performs austerity to have a great son. And his great son is Bhishma Dev, born from the womb of Ganga Devi. So that's a pastime from the Mahabharata that we can consider today. And also it's described that Kapila Muni, he worshipped Bhagavan in this place. And in this place of Kumudvana, there's a deity form of Kapila worshipping Bhagavan. But to reach that place, we won't go there today. We'll just hear about it and we'll have darshan of it from a distance. But we're going to go back to our buses now from Talavan, and we're going to go to a final place of our destination today. For the last maybe 5 or 7 years, the devotees, we haven't gone in our buses to Bahulavan. Bahulavan, if you remember on the Braj Mandal map, is like above these other 3 forests of Madhuvana, Talavan, and Kumudvana. And then just north of there, above, is Bahulavan. But today, because we're having a virtual parikrama, we can just fly there. We don't have to get constrained by the various road changes and constructions which inhibit the big buses going there now. Because as I said previously, they built an overpass. So the buses can't travel around from Talavan as we used to do earlier on. So anyway, we've arrived in the final forest of today, which is Bahulavan. Again, another intoxicatingly beautiful, relishable forest to appreciate, where all the greenery is startlingly green and the Sukansari parrots are chanting, etc., very beautifully here. And in this place, Bahulavan, it's named after Bahula Sakhi. Bahula Sakhi is one of the principal Sakhis of Sri Radhika, and she's Swapaksh. And it's described that in this forest of Bahulavan, it actually extends itself up to Radhakund. Radhakund, in fact, is in this forest of Bahulavan. This Bahulavan forest is directly between Vrindavan and Radhakund. It's exactly halfway. And this forest stretches all the way to Radhakund. So we celebrate, for example, the appearance of Radhakund. We call it Bahulastami. Bahulastami. It's the appearance of this lake within the forest of Bakul Sakhi. So Bakul Sakhi, this is her forest. So there's a very beautiful pastime that takes place here. And in the little temple at Bahulavan, it's depicted very nicely. There's a picture of a tiger and a cow and its calf and a brahmana. These 4 personalities make up this little pastime that took place here in Bahulavan. And we always hear this particular story when we go there. There was once a cow and it was out grazing, and a ferocious tiger cornered the cow and was about to devour her. But the cow had a newborn calf and petitioned the tiger, "Please, I will return to you most certainly. I am a cow in the mode of goodness. I cannot lie. I want to go back, please, and give my new young calf some milk for its sustenance. And then I will return in the evening time, and then you may eat me." And somehow or other, because this is Bahulavan, the tiger was agreed to this condition of the cow, of this mother cow. And the cow was able to return to its calf. And then the cow, of course, was extremely sad because now it was going to leave its calf motherless. But still, it was able to feed the little calf. And then the calf was inquiring, "Why are you so sad, mother?" And then eventually the mother revealed to the calf the situation that actually that evening she had to go back and be the supper for the tiger in the forest. She had made this agreement that she would do this on her word. She had promised this. And the Brahmin who owned this cow and the calf, he could hear the language that they were speaking to each other, and he heard this condition that the tiger had placed on the cow. And he resolved himself that he would go and be the meal for that tiger. He didn't want the cow to lose her life to the tiger. And the little calf, she also resolved that she would go to the forest and she would be the meal for the tiger. And unbeknownst to all three of them, they all three went to that place in the evening. And they all three came. The Brahmana came, and then a little bit later the cow came, and then the calf came also. So all three were there, ready to be eaten by the tiger. And the tiger was sitting there very impressed by the honesty of the cow, etc. But at that time, it's described, Krishna manifested his form and changed the heart of that tiger. So that tiger, he just went off into the forest and he didn't eat any of the three. So this particular little story is related, and they even have it in painting form there on the altar in Bahulavan. So it's a very sweet pastime, and it shows many good qualities about trust, etc., about honesty, and so on. Dharmic qualities are exhibited by this pastime. So we always hear this pastime in Bahulavan. Also, yes.
It also, would it not also show something beautiful about what impact Krishna can have even on the heart of a hungry tiger?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The Brijvasis, they love this story. I mean, they love Krishna to death, and they love this particular pastime. They can relate to it. That's one of the best
stories I've ever heard. It's amazing.
Yes, they love it. They love it. They love it. And we always hear this pastime. Sometimes Gurudev would tell it. Sometimes one of his shishyas would tell it. Tirtha Maharaj, etc., would tell this story. Always with great happiness, and all the devotees will become very joyful hearing it. But also in this forest, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came here, as I described before, in Madhuvana. He sees a spurti of Krishna with the cowherd boy. So he comes here also to this forest. And it's in this forest, as I just described, that Mahaprabhu himself, he reveals the covered Radhakund and Shamakund. They were called locally Goriket and Kaliket, these two buffalo holes, basically, that no one recognized as being Radhakund and Shamakund. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asked the local inhabitants, what's the name of these water holes? And they say Kaliket and Goriket. But then Mahaprabhu says, no, actually, this is Radhakund. And then he bathes in that kund. And then it's revealed for posterity that this is Radhakund. And then, of course, we know that later on, Raghunath Das, he came there and he renovated this beautiful kund to pull it back to something of the condition or place that it was previously. And also it's described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would listen to Sukansari, the parrots, reciting very, very beautiful conversation in this area. Manjalali, you have that picture of the two parrots, please, you can put on the screen. So there's many, many parrots in Bahulavan. And I'm just going to read to you very briefly this conversation, which is very beautiful. So the Sukha is saying, my Krishna is Madan Mohan, the enchanter of Cupid's mind. And then the Sari, the female, is saying, yes, he is, as long as my Radha is at his left side. Otherwise, he is only Madan, Cupid. Then Sukha responds, my Krishna lifted Giriraj on his finger. And Sari responds, because my Radha transmitted power into him. Otherwise, how could he have done so? And then Sukha responds, my Krishna is the life of the whole universe. And Sari responds, my Radha is the life of that life. These are very profound conversations these two parrots are having. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is listening to this conversation in spellbound ecstasy. Then Sukha says, my Krishna's head is beautifully decorated with a peacock feather. And Sari responds, only because my Radhika name is marked on that feather. And then Sukha says, the peacock feather on my Krishna's head leans to the left. And Sari said, because it wants to bow down to my Radha's feet. And then Sari says, my Radha is the trap that captures that moon. Oh, sorry. Sukha says, my Krishna is the moon. And Sari responds, my Radha is the trap that captures that moon. And then Sukha says, there is no need to quarrel uselessly. Let us glorify the youthful couple together. And Sari says, I happily agree to this. So Mahaprabhu, he's listening to this intoxicating conversation between the two parrots. These two beautiful parrots you see on the screen here. And there's so many of these parrots. These parrots originally are all the messengers of Vrindadevi. Vrindadevi, she nurtures and knows every single plant, every blade of grass in the whole Braj Mandal. She's completely familiar with everything, all the entities growing there. So Sukha and Sari and all these millions of parrots are her messengers. Okay, Manjula, you can take it off now. You need to mute yourself. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj, he describes also in his Govinda Lilamrita some very beautiful verses here that my Gurudev writes in his Braj Mandal Parikrama. I'm just going to read one of them just for our pleasure. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is writing, may our Lord Jagmohan, whose unparalleled beauty plunders the wealth of patience of an innumerable multitude of women, whose world-famous glory astounds even Lakshmi Devi, whose strength turns the majestic Govardhan mountain into a child's toy, who has unlimited qualities, whose simple disposition entertains everyone, and whose glory substantiates the welfare of the entire universe, protect the world. So this prayer really sums up today where we have been on our parikrama. We've been to all these glorious places, hearing the sweetest pastimes of Krishna with his cowherd sakas principally, and of course the history in many instances like in Madhuvana and so on, and particularly of Dhruva Maharaj. So all of these udipans, all of these inspirations for us, especially when we went to Talavan and we understood the power of Guru to purify that ignorance within us and to purify these anartas that linger within our consciousnesses and stumble us in our process to cultivate devotion. First of all, we have to know that it is devotion singularly. That is my goal. Then I have to clearly clarify, where am I going to put the focus of my devotion? Is it for Krishna or is it for Sri Radhika, etc.? And by the mercy of our Guru Vargya, coming from Srila Rupa Goswami, they have all enumerated absolutely clearly that we, as we said on the very first day, our desire is to be a maidservant of Sri Radhika. This is our focus. So we are always intent on hearing the very sweet pastimes of Radha and Krishna, with the emphasis of Radhika's bringing great joy and pleasure to Krishna. Even when Mahaprabhu was coming through these forests, as he did, he visited all of these 12 forests with that Sanodian Brahmana, that Brahmana we described on the first day, who had had association with Madhavendra Puri, so was very familiar with Bhav, Bhakti, etc. Madhavendra Puri is the Prema Ankur, the initiator of Bhav in this world. And this Sanodia Brahmana, he had been influenced by that. So he was traveling, he was showing, because he was a Mathuravasi, he knew all these forests, and he was guiding Mahaprabhu through. And he was witnessing the extreme ecstasies that Mahaprabhu was experiencing, coming to all these beautiful forests and remembering all the pastimes that we have been describing today, but seeing them, witnessing them fully. So if we come to these places with full prayerful hearts, calling out to Srila Gurudev, calling out to our whole Guru Vargya, particularly Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all of these personalities, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they have channeled such an amount, a current of mercy for the conditioned souls to experience and taste, to clearly illuminate this path of bhakti, this path of divine devotion. So we are praying today to all our Guru Varg with the deepest humility we can find, to please give us vision of these holy places to inspire our devotion towards serving Radha and Krishna. This is the purpose and intention of our whole Kartik Parikrama, is to increase our bhakti and devotion to the Lord. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Kartik Brat ki jai, Madhuvan, Talavan, Kumudvana, Bahulavan ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank Dandavad. Hari Bol.
Oh no, I came in too soon. I came in too soon.
No.
Hari Bol. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for another very sweet Veil Parikram. I really appreciated the story of Denuka Saw. It was really, really sweet. And someone wrote someone posted some commentary from one granta, I can't remember, but I was saying how the fruit and the blood of the demons look very beautiful upon the forest floor. And why is that? It's because anything that the Lord does is auspicious. So even when he's killing the demons, it's beautiful. And it made me think of when Krishna kills, which demon is it? Putana, yes, Putana. And how there's a beautiful fragrance coming from the body of the demon Putana because she's been purified by Krishna. Or something like that. But I know there's a
No, correct, absolutely correct. When they burnt the demon's body, the aroma was going everywhere. So it was advertising Krishna's great feat. Everyone was inquiring, where's that aroma coming from? It went for 100 miles around Braj.
Wow. Exactly. So, and I also really like the story of the mother cow and the calf.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was a very sweet story. So thank you so much, Maharaj. So now we have to announce our next programs and finish with Kirtan. So tonight again at 6 p.m. UK time, we will be going to these places again, and the speakers for this evening are Shripad Ashram Maharaj and Srimati Shamarani Didi. So it's a very auspicious opportunity to hear more Katha on these places. And then tomorrow, I will not be emceeing. I'm not emceeing on Saturdays, but I hope that I'll be able to come along. If not, I'll catch up the recording. We are going to Sevakunj, to Sri Radha Damodar Temple, to Imli Tal, and to Shringarvat. Is that everywhere we're going to, Maharaj?
Yes, it's a very special day. Just want to say a moment. We actually are going to circumambulate our Gopinath Bhavan. It'll be a very simple, not tedious day. It'll be like a very restful time. But we'll physically be like Imli Tal is right next door. Then we'll just walk a few hundred yards to Sevakunj, and then we'll come around to Radha Damodar, and then we'll come further around to Shringaravat, and we will have completed a very short parikrama of Gopinath Bhavan. That's our journey tomorrow.
So yeah, You should all come. I think we've had maybe 75 people tune in to this morning session, maybe more, Maharaj. Because I looked briefly on YouTube and on Facebook how many people are watching live. So it's at least 75 people have watched part of this Zoom parikram, so it's very auspicious. Haribol.